Hello and welcome to the Art Gallery Workshop. I am your host, Christopher Epling. Thanks a lot for tuning in today. We got some really cool stuff in store, something a little different than what we've been doing in the past. Today we're going to be focusing on watercolor. We're going to be using an example from a video game character, pretty popular one. It's been around for a long time. And also today we have a very, very special guest with us. We have Pikeville High School junior Jay Compton in the studio. He's going to be sharing his work and talking a little bit about what influences him as an artist and his process a little bit. I want to start off today by sharing with you a little bit of what I've been up to, just a couple of things since the last time we met. I'm going to open up a full screen shot here to show you some student created artwork. This is from a student in Millard Elementary, and she has created Sally the Big Yellow Cat. Now this book is very well done in a lot of different ways. She's bound the book herself, so the cover is all created by the student. The illustrations and a story written by the student, and she has put this story together out of inspiration from the Art Gallery Workshop. So she's interested in creating and sharing her own work. The next image that I have for you is actually a design that I completed recently for the Pike County Health Department. This is what's called vector art. Now vector art is when you have very minimal shading and color. The graphics itself are made up of shapes, not a lot of cross-hatching or different smaller elements in the drawing. This is another version here, a little bit more detailed, and you can't, or you may be able to see on the screen, but the mountains are silhouetted behind the health department. These are for logos and also for t-shirt, letterhead stuff. And I'm going to throw this in. That's an illustration I did of me late at night working on projects. I'm illustrating a total of 6 books right now for various publishing companies from St. Augustine, Florida, all the way up through our region. And deadlines come and go, and sometimes I get a little behind. And if I'm behind, that's what I look like. Before we get into the actual watercolor work, I want to share with you, like I promised, Jay Compton's work. Now, Jay is he's a great young artist. Jay's YouTube channel, All About Drawing, helps viewers to really see the process of breaking down some of their favorite characters into basic steps. So if you visit his channel, you'll see different designs from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to Scrooge McDuck, as we're seeing here. This is speed drawing, but what this does is it enables the viewer to see every element of the drawing step by step, from the beginning all the way to the completion of the drawing. So if you get online and you want to check out Jay's work, be sure to go to the YouTube channel All About Drawing, and that's all together, and there's no G at the end. So it's All About Drawing. And this is Jay here with us in the studio. Say hi to the viewers, Jay.
Hi.
Before we start talking together, I want to show a couple more examples from your portfolio, okay? This is one of the, probably, I guess, my favorite of what you've brought today. This is Batman. Do you want to talk a little bit about what medium you used to create this?
Typically I just use paper pencil, and I also use these markers called Copic, which is a alcohol-based marker that leaves just kind of a smooth looking layer.
And we have the Dark Knight here, which is pretty cool. Now this is, okay, I said that was my favorite. I think this is probably not my favorite, but what about this? What did you use to? This looks a lot different than the first. So
I did this in Photoshop, so I did it digitally on what's called a Wacom tablet. You hook it up to your computer and you can draw with a stylus other than a mouse. And this took 3 hours, so this is the one I'm most impressed with.
3 hours?
Yeah.
Well, it's incredible. The lighting that you have on this, you can see where the light source is coming down. Your colors are completely consistent. It's really well done. And now we have Darkwing Duck.
Yes.
And this looks like Copic marker too, and maybe color pencil?
Yeah, I used Copic marker and chalk-based pencil on a gray tone paper. And what that is, it's not like typical printer paper. You can use whites, which you typically don't use, and it just makes the drawing pop.
All right, I recognize this one. This is one of my favorite movies growing up. This is The Goonies. Tell us a little bit about what you used to create this one.
Yeah, this one was pencil. I first started out with pencil, and then I used Copics, like I mentioned earlier. And I actually did a video of me drawing this one, and this one turned out to be one of my favorite Copic drawings because, I mean, I love the Goonies.
Me too.
And I mean, it was just really fun to make.
Now, did you look at anything to create this? Is this your own adaptation?
I did look at pictures of the actors themselves and made them into my own style.
So this is all your interpretation then.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's amazing stuff. And I recognize this guy here. It's a different take on Popeye, I'm guessing, right?
Yes.
Okay, you want to tell us a little bit about that one?
Well, I'm big into cartoons, so Popeye is, you know, one of my favorite characters. And, you know, I had fun doing this one because it's a mixture of Copics and the chalk marker.
Yeah.
But it looks good on gray tone because you can really use white, which you don't get to use often. And it makes it pop, and I like it.
And that's Copic marker too?
Yes.
On gray tone paper, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's really good. Really, really good stuff. And we have Supergirl. That's great. Now this isn't on gray tone. Obviously, this is a Copic marker again?
Yep.
And now your process, I guess, you said you work digital?
Yeah.
So the one that you gave us the example of for digital art, this I'm guessing you sketched first?
Yeah.
And then you color?
Yes.
Do you scan it before coloring, or if you?
I just usually draw it and then color it.
Okay.
Only if I'm going to show off my drawing and take it with me, I'm going to scan it. So.
Okay, and then you outline it in ink, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Very good. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, very cool. So this is another one, what, Copic marker?
Yes.
And so you draw in pencil first, okay, and then you will color it in Copic, right? And then you outline it in ink.
Yes.
So that's your process for this one. Very cool. Yep. All right, so incredible work, Jay. I'm so impressed by, you know, you took a summer camp with me a couple years back, and so I've been able to see how you've grown as an artist, and I'm just thoroughly impressed. You've also brought in some of the pieces here that you've shown us, that we've shown on the screen.
Yeah.
I'll let you go ahead and take that, and let's talk about these a little bit more.
All right.
So, we got the Goonies.
Yeah, we got
first.
the Goonies.
Awesome.
We got Supergirl and Turtles again.
And this is the actual artwork here.
Yeah. Here's some stuff that you didn't see. We got Casey Jones
great.
from Turtles and Indiana Jones.
That's Copic marker too?
Yeah.
Both of these?
Yeah. Most of these in here is Copic. That's my preferred kind of thing to color with.
Boba Fett?
There's Boba Fett, and we got Wolverine with like a Bible verse on it. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
And I did that for somebody. They wanted that.
Oh, that's great. That's great stuff.
Next. All right, so next we got Bebop and Rocksteady from Ninja Turtles. Well,
yeah, those are the villains. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those guys.
And then Scrooge McDuck.
Oh, that's incredible. That really is.
A thing for me was Disney Afternoon growing up as a kid, going and watching Disney Channel with DuckTales and Darkwing Duck. There's Ariel from Little Mermaid. Oop, wrong way.
Okay, you're all right.
And then you got a piece somebody wanted, one of my friends wanted, of a character from one of their favorite shows.
Now, the detail in that, your shading and how you use light is absolutely beyond your years. I mean, you're a junior in high school.
Yeah.
And what you're doing and what you're producing is stuff that artists, you know, they have to grow into. And you're already doing this as a junior, so I'm just thoroughly impressed. Do you have any more in there?
Yeah.
A couple more?
Yeah, I've got a pencil shading of Batman. Batman's one of my favorite DC characters, so
that's incredible.
you know, that's one of my favorites. And then you got Raphael from Ninja Turtles,
Very cool.
and the last one is Leonardo. So,
what's your intentions, though? Like, tell the viewers what you want to do after you finish school.
well, I'd like to go and work and animate for Disney or Pixar. I mean, that's one of my biggest things because as a kid growing up, I grew up on Disney movies, and you know, I'm just like, that's one of the coolest things. I want to do that. So, you know, I want to chase that. Another thing would be to either maybe comic book artist for, it doesn't matter, just as long as I get to draw.
Yeah, as long as you're, that's the thing, right? And you know what? I'm telling you right now, I've been to over 300 schools since 2010, okay? I've been to schools in Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Ohio, all throughout the state of Kentucky. And I can tell you right now, your talent is one of the most substantiated than any student that I've met. And I mean that, okay? I'm not just saying that. You've got a God-given gift, but it takes work, right?
Yeah.
It takes a lot of working at it. So if you at home want to increase in your skills and you want to get to a point where you feel comfortable maybe creating your own YouTube channel or even creating your own comic book or illustrated work, and you admire what Jay's done and what we've shared with you, what advice do you have for those young artists?
Well, if you draw, just keep practicing and just keep at it, because don't stop, because if you stop, then you just lose all progress that you've done. Just keep at it and get your work out there.
That's great advice. Wonderful advice. So we're gonna draw today a little bit, right?
Okay.
We got a couple of things we're gonna do. We always want to incorporate a little bit of drawing skills into the workshop. One of the most well-known cartoon characters out there is Yoshi.
Yeah.
Right. From the Super Mario Brothers series. And so Jay and I are going to draw Yoshi, and I promise today's about watercolor. We only have 30 minutes per show, so it's really important for us to, you know, use that time wisely. And so what we're going to do, we're going to only use a couple colors.
Yeah.
Okay. Watercolor is a very interesting medium. It's one of the best mediums to get involved with if you're especially not used to working with paints, or if you're not used to working with what we call wet medium. And a wet medium is anything other than your charcoal, graphite, colored pencil, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Watercolor comes in different forms. You can go to any art supply store and buy what we call the watercolor cakes. And this is basically a tray of color. Each one of these little tiny pieces in this assortment here is a color. You get it wet, you use a typical brush with it, apply a little bit of water to it, and there you go, you've got a little kit to carry around with you. Now, another way that watercolors are produced is in these little tubes. You have these little tiny tubes of watercolor, and these are, you know, you can, they're not that expensive at all. This is applied a little differently to your paper or canvas or whatever you're using than the cakes are. This is a lot like paint. So what you'll do is you'll take one of these tubes, you squeeze a little bit of color onto a palette such as this, a little tray, and you apply a little bit of water in that. You can mix these colors and then you apply it that way. So these little pencils here look like colored pencils, but they're actually not colored pencils. You would color as if you were coloring a colored pencil, and then from there you would actually take a brush, so a water brush, or they have these really neat what they call aqua brushes that actually hold water in here as a reservoir. And so you fill it up with water, then you take your brush and apply it down on top of where you've colored with your colored pencil, watercolor pencils. For the purpose of today though, we're going to be using the tubes of paint to kind of give you an idea on how to do that, okay? The first thing we have to do though is we have to draw our image, right? Mm-hmm. So what we're going to do, we're going to use watercolor paper. That comes in different assortment sizes too. We've got Canson's just one of many. So you have Canson here, that's one brand. Then you have Strathmore, that's another. So there's tons of options. You don't necessarily have to go with one thing. If you go to any retail art supply store locally here, you're going to find a ton of paper to choose, okay? Okay, so that completes the sketching out for Yoshi, and now we're going to jump straight into watercoloring. And like I said earlier, we're going to be using primarily one basic color in order to get this down a little faster. And as you can see here, I'm going to run through what I've done. I've pulled out a tube of the green paint, and I've placed that on my palette. We've added, these are water, okay, full of water, and then our paint is actually here. I've got my paint and Jay has his paint. We both are using these smaller tip brushes. They're kind of small. That's really good for the what we're using here today. And the reason that I have these black markers out is after we actually watercolor it, we're going to go and outline it in black, which makes a really cool effect to the drawing. And then also have the what we call the watercolor cakes up here. We'll add a little bit of brown and the other colors to Yoshi at the end as well. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to get our brushes really nice and wet. It's good to have a scrap piece of paper laying around like up top here, because what you want to do before you ever start applying color down, you want to test that color out. You want to have something there to test your color out. Now once you think you've got a light enough color, you can go ahead and putting color onto Yoshi. And you know, if you want to take a whole lot of time to get this to look exactly the way you want it, that's fine. We're kind of spotted on time a little bit, so I'm going to kind of apply this in a semi-quick manner. Now you noticed as I'm laying down color on my Yoshi here, it's really light up at the top, and certain areas of his head the paint will be darker, and that has everything to do with their light source. I'm still pulling color into my brush. I'm using this wet the wet, I guess we call that divider here, to actually get my color mixed pretty well. As I want more darker color, I simply put the brush into the paint a little bit thicker, applied to the brush, and that gives me a darker tint to my green, as you can see. Okay, I like to start out light at first, so I do very light with the color. As Jay's doing, he's putting the color down very lightly, and then what we'll do from here, we'll go darker with the color. Just remember, it's always easier to add color to a piece than it is to take it away. So what I mean by that is, if you start out really dark, and then later on you say, well, I kind of wish I hadn't done that. This is actually a lot lighter than what it looks like. It's really hard to go back and take paint away, right, since you've put it on there. Now I think his stomach is a different color, isn't it, Jay?
Yeah, it's like a gray, I think.
It's a grayish color?
Yeah.
Right, so we're going to actually apply the green everywhere it needs to be, a little bit more at the top of the nose. You notice that's almost white up here at the top, and you can use your finger and actually move this paint around a little bit. That's the greatest thing about watercolor. And you said you've not used watercolor a whole lot, Jay?
No, that's not really my strong suit, but you know.
So this is something that you're trying out today, a little bit of experimental too, right?
Yeah.
And so far it's looking really good what you're doing. Well, you use Copic markers, and with Copic markers you have to work with shading, right?
Yeah, with Copic markers it kind of just blends itself, but with watercolor, I guess it's a little bit different.
It's a little bit different, but you notice how the paint will actually move around?
Yeah.
So you can actually, if you need to go back and change it around a little bit, you can move the color around. Now, like I said, even local Walmarts have watercolor. There's a little Crayola kits you can get, whatever. I mean, there's various brands and tons of different types of brands, and you know, watercolor, just like with anything, there's different ranges on prices, okay? So you can get some pretty expensive stuff, or you can go like the route I do and get the basic, and it sometimes works just as well, right? So now what I'm doing is I'm going back over and I'm starting to add a little bit more dark, a little bit more of a hue to certain areas of Yoshi's head and his body. And you said his body's gray, right? His stomach?
Yeah, his stomach I think is gray.
It's a grayish type color.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll go back here in a second and we'll actually put that in there too, okay? So we're trying to go through this fairly quickly for you. Go grab, or don't grab, you have to pay for it. But, you know, get yourself some watercolor. Bring it home. You don't necessarily have to have watercolor paper, but it's a good idea. The difference in watercolor paper and your traditional, let's say, just photocopy paper or drawing paper, is that the paper itself has what we call a different tooth to it. I know it's a weird way to put it, but the texture of the paper is thicker. It holds this water more. And you can kind of tell what would happen, or imagine if you were to go, you know, pour water on a traditional piece of copying paper, it's gonna get messed up real fast, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
So we've got Yoshi here kind of colored out a little bit better. He's got a little bit of a light tone we can see coming, so we'll go ahead now and add a little bit of brown. That's a good thing to clean now with any type of painting you're doing. Keep a paper towel around to kind of wipe your brush out a little bit. And I'm going to use the cakes a little bit now. That's what we had earlier. I showed you that came in the little tray. And I'm going to pull a little bit of brown out of there. Get Yoshi's boots. Watercolor is really cool because it actually, even after it dries, you can go back with it and you can actually change it a little bit. You know, you can apply a little bit of water to it, and it actually causes the paint to moisten up again, and you can move it around, which is always a good thing if you're making mistakes and stuff. So Jay, after you finish up with school, what's your plans on schools? Have you picked a school out yet?
I'm looking at a college in Savannah, Georgia called SCAD, which stands for Savannah College of Art and Design, and that's really where most of the big companies like Disney or Pixar, where I'd like to work, go to recruit, or you can intern there, and which would really be beneficial to me because, as I said, I'd like to go work for them one day.
So an internship, that would be incredible, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah.
Now, I do want to mention at the beginning of the program, I did say that, you know, you don't have to work for Disney or Marvel to have a career, but if you do not, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't set your bar high either, because Jay is setting his bar right where he is, and his talent is there, so there's no doubt in my mind he's not gonna achieve in this field somewhere, I know for a fact. So if your goals are to work for Disney, and you work at it as hard as you're working now, and you continue to do that, you will achieve your goals. I have no doubt about it. Do you know what color his saddle is by any chance?
I think it's like a red, maybe,
It's a
like
red?
red, like in the
Okay.
right there, maybe.
Well, we're going to use a.
I need to clean my brush.
All right. So yeah, definitely get your brush cleaned up.
You don't want
That's a good
colors
idea.
mixed.
So I'm going to use actually a little bit of a. I guess this is almost like a rust
Red,
type
orange,
color.
or something.
Yeah. That's right
Just
here.
use straight
This
up
is it
red.
right here.
Okay, I'm gonna use red.
I'm going to pull the color down. You notice how I'm not applying the color all over the seat. I'm going around the edges where it's darker. And then what I'll do in a minute, I'll go back and like right now, and use a little less color in my brush. Pull that out a little more, just like that. Let's see how that works. Okay. Now I do know the egg is red and white,
Yes.
so put some red in the egg here, spots. Now, you know, if we had a lot of time, Jay, we could really make this.
Yeah, we could go all out.
Yeah. But since we don't have a lot of time, cover the basics, right?
Yeah.
Now, Copic markers, they come in all sorts of colors and stuff, but they also have shades of gray, don't they?
Yes. They got the basic shades. I think they label them sketch markers, I think.
Sketch markers? Okay.
And what it is, it's just your basic grays. It goes from dark to light, so you can get really just, if you don't want to add too much color and you just want to do a regular gray, then you can just go for that.
Okay, so you the same as, it would be shading, right, for different shades?
Yeah, it'd be like shading.
Okay, and I was really just blown away by your, well, all your work's great, but especially the Batgirl piece. That was incredible. That was using digital, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I guess his eyes are black.
Yeah.
I could pull black out of here. Yeah, watercolor is just a wonderful medium. It's really especially good if you've not used paint very much, acrylics, oils, stuff like that, and you want to try it out and see what it's like. What do you think of it so far?
It's a lot easier than when I did it before.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing. It looks really good what you're doing. You've got a complete handle on the shading part. I mean, pulling the dark to light color and stuff. My biggest problem is sometimes I forget to actually test my brush out.
And so you get a weird color.
Yeah, big time, or completely too much color.
Yeah.
But he's starting to look a little bit like yours. Now, his stomach's gray, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
All right, this would be a good time to pull in those Copic markers if we had them.
Yeah, definitely.
So you can see this is kind of like a fast track drawing, but it's working, isn't it?
Is there a gray up here? Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it's right there. These little cake colors are great to transport around. They actually have watercolor kits that you can bring with you where if you're traveling or something. You keep a sketchbook, don't you?
Yeah.
Because you said that a big part of things is drawing all the time, right?
Yes.
Do you have just one sketchbook or do you have multiple sketchbooks?
The last time I counted, I think I had 5.
And each one of those is for a different purpose.
Yeah. Like one sketchbook has all the drawings that I've done for videos, And then another is just for little doodles that I do whenever I get bored. And then the others are just, you know, just there if I run out.
That's a good idea. And you're always drawing?
Yes, whenever I get time.
Even when I go out, like let's say if I go with my family or something like that, or me and go out and you have the sketchbook there at the dinner table, like if we're even when I visit my grandmother or something, I'm always got a sketchbook with me, and she always asks me, hey, you got your sketchbook? I'm never too far without it, because you get ideas, especially this is it's going to be your career. I have no doubt about it. I think you're going to do really, really great stuff. And it is a career I'm working in right now on a small scale, right? So you always have to come up with ideas. Sketchbooks help you so that you're able to get those ideas down and record those. Okay, and the last thing I guess we'll do is I'll let you take the better of these markers.
Oh, okay.
We're going to ink this over real fast, outline it, and then we'll be finishing up. I want everybody to please, if you've enjoyed today and you have work that you would like to submit to us here, and we can showcase your work just as we have each week, please go on to theholler.org. Okay, so that's THEHOLLER. Yeah, they're laughing at me in the other room there. I kind of forgot how to spell holler. Yeah, THEHOLLER.org. Okay, you go to that website, and when you get there, you're going to want to search for the Art Gallery Workshop. Okay, and it's what it is. It's like a little community right there on that website, and with that community, you're able to submit your work in, so we can showcase it here each week. You're able to see other students' work. And the really cool thing about it, and I haven't talked about this very much, but I will in the following weeks, some students participated last school year in what's called the Art Gallery Workshop for KVAC. Okay, that's really where all this came from. Kelly Thompson there at KVAC, she approached me with the idea of getting students' works published and having students create their own works combining creative writing and the visual arts. Okay, and we did that. We conducted an 8-week program, and students submitted their works, and I'm happy to say that there's going to be 4 to 5 students out of that workshop whose works will be published, actually published. Okay,
It's pretty cool.
Jay, I really appreciate you coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
Had a great time together. We've shared our work, and we just really appreciate you taking time out. And I know everybody in the whole county and everybody in the viewing area, and I know I am, and everybody here at the Holler and at Pike TV, super proud of you, okay? I want you to keep up this good work.
Okay.
And when you start working for Disney, do me one favor, will you?
Sure.
I always want to incorporate our region into my work somehow.
Okay.
So no matter where you go and what you do, okay, make me a promise that you will always, at some point, share a little bit about home with whoever's looking at your work.
Definitely.
Is that a promise?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I want you to tell everybody, anybody you want to say hello to over here?
Sure. I want to say hi to my family. I know they're a big help, and they encourage me to do this and what I want to do. So this is really what I want to do. So thanks for encouraging me. So that's really it.
Awesome, man. Thanks a lot, okay?
Right. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. And if you want to come and spend a little time with us and share your work or just send it in, do that, okay? Really appreciate you tuning in today to the Art Gallery Workshop. Take care and keep drawing.